All right, so you guys want to start with Cody muting his computer?
Not what are you talking about, dude?
All right, so do you guys want to start with me being mad about something, me being slightly disappointed about something, or do you want happy talk?
Oh, you're like tired and cranky. I get it. Like you're like driving back from Atlanta last night. Got back like 4 a.m.
I'm not cranky. I would just say tired. And boy, let me tell you, anybody out there who knows, I-16 from Macon to Savannah, that's a lonely road. That is a lonely road. It is much lonelier at 3 o'clock in the morning. It is much, much lonelier when it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You had actually driven to Atlanta that morning and you're driving back now, and one Kevin Thomas is night in the passenger seat under a blanket, no less.
Sawing logs.
Softly. No, not even sawing logs, which would have been better. Like, that would have kept me awake if he was over there like chainsawing it.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a soft, almost like a dog kind of a snore. Just very gentle snore for Kevin Thomas there. So that's where I'm at right now. But again, I'll ask you, do you guys want to do mad, disappointed, or happy?
Let's get all the bad stuff out the way.
You want to get the bad stuff out of the way?
Yeah,
all right, talk about Julio Jones. I keep seeing this, and it's coming not only from national pundits, which we had Mike Greenberg on a little bit, not on the show, but on our airwaves a little bit earlier, and I was listening to him, and he was talking about the Julio Jones trade. He's like, yeah, you can't give up a first-round pick for Julio Jones because he's been injury prone lately. He's been getting hurt lately, so you can't give up a first-round pick for Julio Jones. Our own Ben Troop has said the same thing, saying he's in his 30s. You can't give up that much for Julio Jones. I can take a different view of that. I do not view Julio Jones as injury prone whatsoever. He played in 9 games last year, which, let's talk about what last year was. It was a bad Falcons team, and Julio got banged up, but he played in 9 games, but then he just didn't play in the last 4. Why? The Falcons were 4-8 out of playoff contention, had fired their head coach, their GM. They had an interim coach riding out the rest of the season. They had no chance of doing anything significant that season. Why would he play anyway? I thought it was a smart choice when he sat out the last 4 games. Like, what was the point of him coming back and just getting hurt more? But so I took 2020 out of it because, again, they didn't say you shouldn't give up a first-round pick because he got hurt in 2020. The narrative that I've been hearing is, you can't trade for Julio Jones because he's injury prone. Injury prone to me says he's a guy who's consistently banged up. Didn't have an injury 1 year. We said back in 2013 he only played in 5 games.
Yeah,
that was the third year of his career. Injury prone to me means this dude's always out, right? Like there's always something. It's like having a Jaguar car as your car, right?
Like OBJ right now.
It looks real pretty. It looks real pretty, but it's going to be in the shop more than anything. That's not Julio. So I went back to the last 3 seasons, 16-game regular seasons, obviously. So the most games you could play in as an NFL player in the regular season from 2017 to 2019 is 48 games. That's it. That's the most games you could play in. And I looked at some of the other wide receivers that are at the top of the NFL. Like, yes or no, would you guys consider these guys to be all within the top 7 or 8 wide receivers in the NFL over the last 3 years? Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
All over there. That's literally like
pretty much.
Okay, from 2017 to 2019, the most games you could play is 48. The player who played the least amount of those games is Devontae Adams. Never hear anything about him being injury prone. Then you had 2 guys who played 44, Stephon Diggs and Mike Evans. I don't hear that narrative around those guys.
These are great numbers too. Yeah.
I don't hear any narrative around those guys. DeAndre Hopkins, a guy a lot of people would argue is the best wide receiver in the league. 46 games, 46 out of 48. That's pretty good. Julio Jones from 2017 to 2019, 47 games.
Yeah.
He missed 1 game in those 3 years. And then last year he got banged up. The team was terrible. And so he got held out of a lot of games.
Yep.
That doesn't mean he's injury prone. So I'm here for this. If you say the Falcons, to survive as a franchise, should trade Julio Jones away, get what they can for him because you need to get out from under that cap.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I'm here for it. And I've been saying you literally can't sign your class without trading Julio Jones. There's so many different ways to do that math. So many different contracts you could restructure.
Jarrett.
Jarrett, Deion Jones. There's a ton of different guys that you can restructure on that team. So it's not you have to trade Julio Jones, but you can't sign your class. And I kind of heard Ben saying that. I disagree with that. But Ben, again, also Ben and Mike Greenberg and other people saying, Peter Schrager saying Julio Jones is injury prone.
That's absurd.
It's not true.
It gets under my skin.
And Cody, you brought up a great stat. Julio Jones in the history of the NFL has the most yards per game as a wide receiver.
By a lot.
By almost 10 more yards than Calvin Johnson, who's the next closest in second place. Julio Jones has 95.5 yards per game. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Absurd. I don't get the...
I mean, that's basically what, 1,500 plus yards a season if you average that out over a 16-game season.
Oh, we were just talking. Dang it, I wish I had it up. It's been 7 years besides last year. He went in a row, 6 years in a row. He did not go under 1,300 yards, and his lowest was 1,395.
Yeah.
Dude, and in most of those seasons, he was under 100 receptions.
And I don't understand the thought process, because if you're going to trade Julio Jones and you're going to get out from under cap hell, which, I mean, the Falcons are in right now, then why did you draft Kyle Pitts and keep Matt Ryan? I'm struggling to understand the thought process there. If it's win now because you have Matt Ryan, you don't trade away your best player. And I will still call Julio Jones the best player on the Atlanta Falcons. So if your mode is we have Matt Ryan for 2-3 more years, why do you trade away his best player? Now, I know some people are saying in 2023, you're going to have Calvin Ridley's cap come up. At that point, you're going to be in a different situation. He's going to be asking for wide receiver one money. You're going to be in a different situation. But for this year, why in the hell would you trade Julio Jones if you weren't going to go quarterback in the draft and start rebuilding? I don't get it, Cam.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. That's when they drafted Kyle Pitts, I'm like, okay, now we're dangerous on offense. Julio, Ridley, Pitts, can't double team. You're going to see Julio's touchdowns go up, everything like that. And now I'm hearing trade him. I'm with you. I'm confused. What are the Falcons doing? I mean, you can restructure your contracts, sign your draft class, and figure things out after that. I say keep Julio for this year. See what you can do if you're in win now mode. If it doesn't work out, then trade him. Julio Jones he's been by far the best wide receiver for the past 5-6 years. If you want to have the argument with him and AB, that's about it. That's the only person that's comparable to me. So, and the injury prone thing. If you're injured is you can't play. You're not available. He's always been available. This year, we were losing. Of course, he's going to save up his body. He's had turf toe issues and hamstring issues.
Puzzle the Falcons to ask him to play.
Yeah, there's no point.
You have nothing left to gain from the season. Julio Jones is a huge asset. Why would you even ask him to play?
Exactly. So I don't get it. Julio is a great player. We need to keep him for this year if we're in win now mode. That's why we got Pitts, in my opinion. I'm confused just like you and kind of getting frustrated over this whole thing.
But again, we have people commenting in. Julio Jones is 32, almost 33 years old.
Oh,
I don't care about
that.
I mean,
I don't care about
age.
That,
I mean, age, look at his stats.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the only thing I think you can really base it off of. Julio Jones is different, man. Again, we just said the man averages almost 10 yards more per game for his career than Calvin Johnson. Where are we going with that?
Well, the whole age thing. This is the new NFL. Age is starting to become this thing. There has been signs before, but now the way these athletes take care of their bodies and the way it's happening, you got quarterbacks playing in their 40s.
The way they protect wide receivers now,
dude,
right?
Yeah.
You don't have 230-pound safeties just ear-holing wide receivers for their entire careers anymore.
Thank you.
You can't do that. And I think
that argument, there's no...
It doesn't fly for me.
And there's no reason to even bring that up unless he's starting to downfall.
And
you're
he hasn't been.
Okay, well, he's a little shaky this year. and he's old. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not going to really have a bounce back because he is getting older. There's been no. He was injured last year. It wasn't a crazy.
One
It
year
wasn't a crazy injury either.
And I also think, and again, this is just reckless speculation. I feel like if the Falcons are 7-3
Mhm.
at that point, Julio Jones is playing in this.
He would have got limited reps. Yeah, he would have been in, but
Julio Jones is playing in those.
I still don't feel like he would have been full go, but they would have given him some limited reps and everything, kind of like what they did with Waddle in the national championship, some type of thing like that. They're going to play him as little as they can for a production they can get from him. I feel like that's what they would have done if they would have been winning. But if you're losing like that, there is absolutely no point to put your best player out there. Just let him heal up, and it's a good reason for him to not to play.
I mean, prior to last season, and again, I'm putting 2020, just throwing that out the window because the Falcons were atrocious. There's no reason. If you spread out his numbers, he honestly had a better yards per reception last year than he had in the previous 2 seasons. So that was trending up. But go back to 2015, 1,800 yards, 2016, 1,400 yards, 2017, 1,400 yards, 2018, 1,600 yards, 2019, 6 yards away from 1,400 yards. 1 year where you're hurt and your team's terrible isn't a trend.
Yeah.
It's not a trend.
Sorry, I was laughing at a comment. We were talking about being older. We had a comment. Lee Wetmore says, I wish I was 32. Okay.
I mean,
Me too. I just turned 33. I wish I was 32 too. Okay.
I'm struggling to understand the thought process. Again, if they had drafted Justin Fields at 4 and said it's rebuild mode on and we're trading Julio Jones and we're trying to find a suitor for Matt Ryan next year, like, all right, I get it. You're building for 5-6 years from now. But if you're committing to Matt Ryan, and that's exactly, make no mistake, by not trading back and by not taking a quarterback, by sticking there and taking Kyle Pitts, you're committing to Matt Ryan. And we've talked about this. I think Arthur Smith in his mind is saying, look what I did with Ryan Tannehill. Dirk Cutter was his offensive coordinator. Look what happened when Matt Ryan had a real OC and Kyle Shanahan. I'm Arthur Smith. I'm the new head football coach for the Atlanta Falcons. I completely transformed the Tennessee Titans. Let's see what I can do with Matt Ryan. We've talked about that, right? Why then would you make your team worse?
Yeah.
That I don't understand. And again, for people saying you can't sign your rookie class without trading Julio Jones, there are so many other options that are available to this team to do. Restructuring people, there's going to be more cuts coming down the line. It's going to be fine. It doesn't have to be Julio Jones. Now, I'm kind of 50-50 on whether or not it actually happens. I think right now you're putting the feelers out there because, yeah, I think if somebody comes to you with a first-round pick or something like that and you feel like you can get a haul like a first-round pick and a player, I think maybe you take it. But if somebody's going to offer you a third-round pick for Julio Jones just so you can salary dump, I don't know if I fully support that. But that being said, so there's the 3 options. That's the one thing I'm mad about. We'll come back. We need to talk about what we're disappointed about or something that made us laugh. So we'll come back. Second Down on ESPN Radio, 3 and Out coming up at 3 o'clock. We got Braves baseball coming up for you tonight as well. We'll be right back after this. All right, so where do we want to go now? Again, this is Second Down on ESPN Radio, presented to you by The Uniform Source. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen and Cam Urshry. Appreciate y'all hanging out yesterday during the Benedictine Baseball State Championship Series. Unfortunately, the Cadets fall, but some fun audio from Kevin that we're going to get to here in a little while. So what do you guys want to go to now? What we're sad about or something funny?
Let's go sad, funny for towards the end. So let's hurry
You're
up.
trying to end the week on a positive note?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Atlanta Braves. Man.
Dang, I ain't we're good. No, we're gonna go that sad. Like, no, dang, what the heck?
You lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets AAA affiliate, and now you lose game 1 of a 4-game series to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are just
Who could have foreseen this?
atrocious.
Who could have foreseen? Who said this yesterday? Oh, me. They're going to lose the series against the Pirates because they do not do well outside the division.
They don't do well in the division.
They do okay in the division, not the best, but they get more wins in the division, maybe because they've played more games, obviously. But they do not do well at all outside the division, and it sucks. And the Pirates people are down on the Pirates.
They're bad.
But they're bad. Yeah, they are. They are
should
bad.
be down on the Pirates.
But,
there's no buts to that.
But what? Because the Pirates have 2 less wins than the Braves.
I mean, are the Braves good?
No, they're middle of the pack team.
The Pirates are bad.
I have been said this.
The Pirates were 17-25 going into last night's game. They don't score a lot of runs. Their pitching is very average. They're a bad team, and the Braves should have absolutely taken advantage of a 4-game homestand. You still have 3 more games, and I think if you come out win 3 in a row, then we're talking about a different story.
You're hoping high.
We're coming out a different story. But I mean, how many times has that happened? That's all the Braves do this year. They lose 4 in a row, then they win 3 in a row, and then they lose 3 in a row, and then they sweep somebody.
It's a roller coaster.
There's no middle ground with this team, but it was the same story last night. You go up 3-0 in the second inning, and then all of a sudden you let them start chipping their way back, and they tie the game in the 7th because the bullpen can't get it done. It's just that one run because the bullpen can't get it done, and then you go to the top of the 10th, you allow them to score 2 runs, which I get after hitting a guy in the face with a baseball that like Webb had to get back in there at some point.
Yeah.
Like he had to get back on the horse at some point. But maybe top of the 10th with a runner on second in a crucial game situation wasn't the time to do that.
Too much heat.
Because he got kind of rocked in that one, and you could just tell he wasn't mentally there yet. Maybe not the time for him. And listen, I have been one of Brian Snitker's biggest supporters. 3 straight division championships, was a game away from going to the World Series last year. I think it's okay to say he's made some bad decisions this year. Now, I am not.
Are you calling for his job?
No,
what are you doing, dude?
Absolutely not. And like in zero ways am I saying, oh, Braves maybe need to start looking somewhere else. But I do think it's fair to criticize people or coaches when they make mistakes.
Oh yeah.
There's been the last couple of weeks, there have been some very questionable decisions, I think, with the bullpen. He's got a lot more, and this is a good trait, I think, to have in a baseball manager, is he's got a lot more patience with players than the fans do. And I said it, guys like Luke Jackson, right? People are ready to cut him last year, and he's honestly been your best bullpen arm so far this year. But AJ Minter and Will Smith have been bad.
I've said this. As soon as he went 13 pitches and gave up like 3 runs, get him out of here. Yeah, get him out of here.
AJ Minter just isn't there. Like he nibbles. He doesn't really have his flamethrower stuff right now, and people are hitting him hard. And Will Smith, it's 2 outs and then give up a solo shot.
Yep.
2 outs and then get rocked somewhere. It's been rough, and that is not what you want your closer to be. You want your closer to be, oh hell, here comes this guy. It's over. You don't want them to smell hope when
deadly
your closer comes out. We don't know when Shane Green. Here's my other question. Shane Green, we're hearing it's going to be like 2 weeks before we see you, and you were waiting to sign a contract with a team. What were you doing?
Yep.
You weren't having like backyard bullpen sessions, keeping your arm ready to go? 2 weeks? And it's already been a couple weeks since they signed him? What were you doing?
The Atlantic Journal-Constitution says Shane Green expected to begin pitching at AAA next week.
Okay, so that's expected to begin next week in the AAA affiliate.
Yes.
So that's another 2 weeks until you maybe see him in the bullpen. What were you doing?
No, dude. This is
But you got three more games coming up against the Pirates. They're all at home. You have Ian Anderson on the bump tonight. He's been really good so far this year. And it's just it seems like you can't tie it together. When you have a great offensive performance, then your Huascar Ynoa gives up a ton of runs and punches a bench, right? When you have a great pitching performance, your offense doesn't show up. So it's just the Braves. It's been a rough year so far. It's like a very slow form of torture watching this team so far. But I think it's so frustrating, Cody, because you know how good the lineup is.
Oh, you got the MVP on there. You got probably
you have the MVP and the guy who came in
front
second
runner
place in the MVP voting, and Marcell Ozuna.
And then you have the front runner to me right now is Acuna. You have some hot bats when they want to get hot. So when they don't get hot, it's very disappointing. It's very sad when you see a couple of, like, you can't always rely on like Acuna. I was saying yesterday how he had the walk off and everything like that, but
he's been struggling.
There's been a few times
280. He's down to 280.
Yeah, but still, when you're winning games, it's because of him, and you can't rely on someone who you're right, who is like struggling.
I think that's pretty well known that you can't rely on one guy to carry your entire baseball team. Freddie Freeman's been better. Ozzie Albies has been better, but Marcell Ozuna has been very hit or miss. Dansby Swanson's been bad. Like, horrible. I think it's fair to say that, to where it's like maybe it's time to start like platooning someone else in there at shortstop. Like, how long do you let that rock? Because what I had said at the beginning of the season was the offense hasn't been there, but it's still Dansby's glove.
Yeah.
So like if you're getting an Andrelton Simmons basically out of Dansby Swanson, which Braves fans will remember Simmons, it was a 230 batting average, but he was going to play a hell of a shortstop. And so he was kind of making up for it with his defensive ability. Dansby struggled a little bit this year on the defensive side of the ball as well. So it's just, how long do you let Dansby rock there? Austin Riley's been a nice surprise, but that's kind of what I'm saying with Snit is sometimes you have to stick it out, because if it was up to the fan base, Austin Riley would have been gone, and then we would have brought in another third baseman.
It's true.
All of a sudden, Austin Riley, outside of Ronald Acuna, has been our most consistent player in the lineup.
I love the Braves farm system. Me and Kevin were talking about this the other day. I said, start looking in there. And he's like, oh no, we did that. We did that last year. I was like, and it worked. You have a great farm system. It's not one of the best.
Much like the Braves had the best record after 8 innings last year, where it's just, if you were tied past 8 innings, the Braves were going to win.
Yeah.
Like, eventually it's going to come back to, we call it coming back to the median, right? It's going to come back to the middle. The Braves have gotten Ian Anderson, call him up. He almost throws a no-hitter in the playoffs, right? You pitch Bryce Wilson in the playoffs with his first ever start. He's unbelievable, right? You bring Max Fried comes out, and he's like a Cy Young candidate and like almost a Rookie of the Year candidate, right? Eventually, that's going to come back to the other side, where if you keep rushing these guys up, they're going to be what they are, which is AAA baseball players who are getting rushed up, right? It's not all going to be Ian Anderson's.
Yes, they are. All of them.
No, I mean, eventually it's not going to work out like that. But we got a comment on there. Tomlin, Smith, Minter, Webb can all go home. I don't inherently disagree with that. It's been bad. I mean, those guys have not been good.
No, they have not.
Haven't. I mean, when Tomlin comes in, you pretty much know, well, they're going to score a run. When Will Smith comes in, he's going to blow this in the most heartbreaking way possible. AJ Minter is infuriating to watch pitch right now. It's infuriating. And if you're going to get hit, at least throw strikes.
No.
Don't 5-pitch walk a guy and then give up a fat fastball over the middle the next time. It's just bad. If you're going to get hit, at least do it with your best stuff. And then Webb, I think Webb has good stuff. I think
you keep Webb.
They talked about it, like, physically, obviously what happened to Pilar, it was devastating. He got hit in the face with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. But like mentally, what happened to Webb, I think that might take a little bit longer than a couple days to get over. And again, putting him in the top of the 10th thought was an interesting decision. So I'm not ready to give up on Webb yet. Yeah. But Tomlin, Smith, and Minter, I don't know how long you hold on to it.
Get out of here.
I don't know how long you hold on to it. And there's a few other big question marks I think are on this team. Contreras, as good as he has been at the plate, like hitting, and he's been unbelievable, and you don't envy him for what he's had to do. He had to come up out of the minors and replace not only Travis d'Arnaud, but Alex Jackson as well, and he's been much better at the plate than Alex Jackson, but behind the plate, I think it's been very suspect. I think he's been very okay. A lot of pass balls, a lot more wild pitches, and we almost saw it bite the Braves in the series finale against the Mets when Cameron Maybin gets on base after he strikes out.
Yep.
right, where the ball gets past Contreras and he can't throw him out. So it's there's some suspect stuff right now. Ronald Acuna's ankle's banged up. I mean, he's back playing. He hit the walk-off home run, but you can tell it's not full speed for him, and his batting average is starting to dip a little bit. He's down to 280 as well. And he's just going around. Marcell Ozuna, very okay so far this season. I mean, the defense has been bad. I'd be curious what his WAR is, because if I had to imagine, last year you knew the defense wasn't great, but you also had a DH, so you could DH him. And if he played defense, the offense was good enough to compensate for how bad the defense is. His defense hasn't been good this year, and the offense hasn't done that. Center field, you don't know who is going to be. It's basically a 3-man rotation right now, and then Ronald Acuna is banged up. So this is a perilous stretch for the Braves right now, and I think you have to take advantage of playing a bad Pittsburgh Pirates team coming up, because after that, just go take a look at the schedule and see some of the teams around there. We could be looking at a deep, deep hole.
His
for the
WAR
Atlanta Braves.
is negative 0.4.
Yeah, that's not what you want out of a guy who was an MVP candidate last year and was one of your quote-unquote key offseason signings. So there you go. We got more to come here on Second Down. We'll talk about something a little bit happier when we come back. If you missed any portion of the show, you can check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcast as well. All the shows are also archived on ESPNCoastal.com. We'll be right back after this. All right, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Second down presented to you by the Uniform Source. I know we talked about the Julio Jones rumors. We've talked about the Braves and their struggles. Let's lighten the mood a little bit.
Okay.
Did you guys see what Jacob deGrom did last night?
No.
Cam?
Nope.
Jacob deGrom was in a rehab assignment. A little banged up, trying to get back up. We talked about the Braves losing to the Mets AAA affiliate, basically.
Hey, get well, big guy.
Yeah, so him, Noah Syndergaard, had a couple other people that are really banged up. They're trying to get back. So Jacob deGrom, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, 2-time NL leader in strikeouts, baller, best pitcher in baseball. If you're doing like Madden ratings, he might be the best player in baseball, but that's a different story. Amazing player, right? Well, he's doing a rehab start, and you're like 3A, right? Like he's playing AAA guys? No. The poor, unfortunate Palm Beach Cardinals of low A baseball.
Whoa.
Yeah, low A.
Whoa.
Baseball had to run into basically Jacob deGrom getting a workout in.
A buzzsaw.
That's basically just him getting a workout in. Here's his line from the 3 innings he pitched. Just trying to get some work, trying to get that arm ready to roll, get back up to the pros. 0 hits, 0 runs, 8 strikeouts, 41 pitches.
Just bullying.
That's a little less than 14 pitches an inning.
It's like when you're playing the show and you have it like on extra easy.
Yeah.
And you still don't get that.
Yeah. So, but I thought the best part of the night though was and you got to take advantage when things like this happen, is the social media department from the Palm Beach Cardinals did an amazing job with this. So
I'm looking.
Here's some of my favorite tweets. Number one, they just tweeted out during the game, Jacob deGrom is throwing 102 miles per hour. Someone send help. I think it's fair. Then they would go on to say, come on, Mets, what do you expect us to do with this? And they posted a video of him just hitting with a 102-mile-an-hour fastball with like movement away down in the zone. Like, what do you want us to do with that?
That's terrifying.
And then they hit us with the, thank God they took him out, which I think very fair. And then they hit us with the, so now the Mets want to give Jacob deGrom run support, because Jacob deGrom famously gets like 0 run support from the Mets, but the low A Mets will give him some run support. And then there was another one. I don't have it written down here, but one of the fans commented on the post about Jacob deGrom is throwing 102 miles an hour. Someone sent help. He goes, or learn how to hit a fastball, which, number one, the hell out of here.
102.
Yeah,
dude.
learn how to hit a fastball.
I'm stepping back, son. As soon as that
learn how to hit a fastball. You know who can't hit his fastballs? Literally everyone.
Yep.
There's a reason he is the 2-time NL Cy Young Award winner, and he's the guy that has led the NL in strikeouts twice. No one can hit his fastball. But Palm Beach Cardinals, give them credit. They retweeted that. And they go, we have 8 players in the lineup who were born after the year 2000. Kevin.
Video, Kevin. Our Kevin?
No.
Oh, I was like,
that does sound like something our Kevin would say, but I would imagine he'd change his name if he had a burner account. But I mean, I think that's a fair point when you're like, literally after the year 2000, there were people born. We got 8 of them on our team.
I refuse to believe that people were born after 2000.
That's the best. You have people
Cam.
that were born
You
after
have kids.
Yeah, no, that's true. I do have kids. I forgot I had kids.
It's probably not something you want to say on the radio waves there.
It's true.
When was the last time you spoke to him?
Crap. It's been a minute. I'm just playing.
When you dropped him off at school this morning?
Yeah, when I dropped him off
There
at
you
school
go.
this morning.
But I mean, just still, like, imagine. Okay, so here's another fun fact on this one too. Care to guess who they had to go up against the night before?
Who? No.
Thor. Noah Syndergaard.
Oh, jeez, dude. These poor souls. Are they getting paid good by having this?
I wouldn't say good, but they're getting paid.
That's true. They're getting paid. Yeah.
I don't know how good it is. I've heard some of the minor league stories where the guys are like, yeah, we live in an apartment with 2 bedrooms and 5 of us live in that apartment so we can play minor league baseball. But I would be asking for a raise if I had 2 nights in a row. I'm like, listen, this is supposed to be low A ball. We're also supposed to be working and getting better, moving up to AA, maybe getting called up to AAA. It's an amazing feat. I want to say this. It's an amazing feat if you get called up to AAA. A lot of people knock that. It's an amazing feat. You're one of the best 1% of baseball players in the world. But these guys are working and they're trying to get better at their craft, and they're young, and they're probably a lot of them are college prospects that got drafted, and they're just trying to get better, right? Listen, guys, 2 nights in a row, you're not going to get better.
I wonder if like they're in the dugout and like there's guys refusing to go out, like they have like the bats next to them and they're like shaking, and like the coach got like push them towards the freaking plate. You're like,
I just hope, I just hope they were closing their eyes and swinging. Just
yeah,
like
exactly.
If I try to locate this and let my mind send, like my brain send electrons to my hands to stimulate them and make them move, like there's no way that's all going to happen in the span of time I need it to. So I'm just going to blindly swing. I hope that's number one. That's it, what they were doing, because that's pretty much all anybody in the pros can do with his stuff right now. But number two, you're not getting better. Like I understand that you're like, well, you're going to see this pitching eventually. That's not giving you a look. Right, you're not getting better off that. It's basically Billy Madison playing dodgeball.
You're not gradually like building up to that either.
It's Billy
you're
Madison like, playing dodgeball.
Yeah,
those kids did not get better when a grown man was slinging dodgeballs at them. Right, you don't get better.
You're out of here.
Yeah, that was rough. But I thought that was pretty hilarious last night. It's just if you make the best out of a bad situation, which is your team's about to get smoked for however many innings he's in there. Let's have some fun with it.
I want to know if 102 is coming after Christian Gokel. Are you like leaning back, or are you going to try to swing, or what are you doing?
There will never be a situation in my life in which an object is moving at me at 102 miles an hour.
Oh, I have had some objects go really fast, like by me, but
yes, it's
not baseballs. And baseballs, dude, I don't know. I think I'd rather get shot at than have baseballs flinging at me like that. That's just I'm just
coming from a guy who's been shot at.
I'm just a little different with that. I suck at baseball completely, so I would only imagine a ball coming at me 102 miles an hour.
Just standing in the batter's box.
I don't think I've ever gone that fast in a car.
Standing in a batter's box has to be just horrifying.
That's what I'm saying. The dudes were probably trembling going out there, man. Like what was on the clock? 102? Oh, snap. Hey, Bobby, you're up next. Like you're
so, hey, coach, a little oblique going on right now.
I got a little cramp going on.
I don't think that, but I thought that was hilarious. Also, something I thought was hilarious, but also I think it was a little bit of BS. Can you see Nate McMillan got fined $25,000?
Nah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, for some comments he decided to make about the NBA in terms of the New York Knicks. I'll read you what he said in the press conference. He said, basically, I've gone as far as saying the league wants this in terms of the New York Mets in the playoffs. They need this. New York, this is a big market for the league, and this is a team that our league, they want to see. There's a huge fan base, and they want to see New York in the playoffs. So, yes, we have talked about that, about the advantages of this situation. I think that's maybe where the NBA got a little mad. And some of the things we're going to have to face, i.e., maybe the officials start leaning towards the New York Knicks on some of these calls. It says going to game one with everyone picking New York to win and a lot of folks wanting to see New York in the playoffs. It's a battle. It's a challenge just playing New York, all that comes with it. They've had a really good season, and I think the NBA is excited about having them back in the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of calls that probably won't go our way. And then Nate McMillan in practice, he confirmed this to the media, actually said that at their first practice this week, he kind of had the players playing through fouls. So basically told the starting guys, or told the backup guys that were playing against the starting guys, hack them, and we're not going to call it. Like, make anytime they go to the lane, make it real difficult, get in their face, get under them, moving screens, and basically saying, expect this, especially in game one in New York when it's the first time we've seen the Knicks in the playoffs in forever. Expect this, and you can't let it get you out of your head, out of your game, right? Mentally, this can't frustrate you because the Hawks are already a young team. You get in the playoffs for the first time since 2016, and you start getting frustrated by bad calls. That's a recipe for disaster. And Nate McMillan, I think, being very honest, saying, let's be real, there's probably going to be some home cooking, especially with it being the New York Knicks. Well, the NBA took exception to that, fined him $25,000, saying that the NBA would be biased towards any team. And so, but I think Nate McMillan, Cam, just got fined $25,000 for speaking the truth.
Yeah, I mean, he spoke the truth. It's going to happen. The Knicks haven't been to the playoffs in 7-8 years.
2000?
So about that time. Yeah, it's time for that home cooking for the Knicks. Yeah, I love it though that he's telling his team play through them fouls because that's a physical team, and the way the game flows, I've seen it in the playing games. They're not going to call nothing. So,
and I don't even
better be ready.
It's play through the fouls. I think it's saying like, don't get frustrated when you don't get it. Yeah. When somebody hacks you when you're going up for a layup and you don't get that call. Number one, it's the playoffs. And so the calls go way down. It's kind of like the NCAA tournament is the calls go way down once you get here. But number two, again, it's the New York Knicks, first time in 8 years we've seen them in the playoffs.
Yep.
And you're probably not, if a call's 50-50, it's not going your way. Trae Young, this is your first playoff experience. John Collins, this is your first playoff experience. You can't let that frustrate you.
Yeah, that's who I'm worried about. Not really John Collins, but Trae Young, because they got a lot of physical guards over there, some hard guys. And yeah, but we're gonna see. Game one's gonna tell me if the Hawks gonna win the series or not. I look at things from game one with young teams. If they're in there, they're focused, they may win. If they can steal a game on the road, I'm confident the Hawks will win.
Two things. I love you, Nate McMillan. Second thing, that's a lot of cheddar. He's the lowest paid head coach right now. Yeah. And $25K. That's some good cheese. They just took my boy for speaking the truth.
The players do the thing like the players did in Rudy when they walk in with their jerseys and just put them down on the coach's desk, but instead of their jerseys, they threw some cash down on Nate McMillan's desk.
A little bit of cheddar.
I got you, coach. We got you, coach. We got you, coach. You know, if everybody chips in a couple grand, you'll take care of old Coach McMillan's fine there. But
I hope they beat down the Knicks,
oh my God.
dude.
I want them on Sunday. And look, they flexed them 2 Sunday, 7 o'clock on TNT. You think that's an accident? You think that's an accident that the New York Knicks get flexed to Sunday at 7 o'clock? It's not an accident.
Not an accident.
So everybody's going to be watching that game. I would love the Hawks to come out, take game one, so I can just listen to Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin talk about it. I can listen to Barton Hahn talk about it, and I can especially listen to Mike Greenberg and Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I cannot wait. I hope the Hawks go out there and just blow the doors off the New York Knicks in game one. We got more to come here. We'll come back. Final segment of Second Down next. Second down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen and Cam Ursher. All right, Cam, we're talking about the Hawks in the last segment there. They got game 1, 7 o'clock coming up on Sunday. I need a prediction. How's this series going to go?
Oh, man. I originally had the Knicks in 7. I really did. And I started looking at the Hawks' depth. I said, okay, the Hawks have a chance. They do. If they could go out there and get a game, whether it's game 1 or 2, I think Hawks will win the series. If they go down 2-0, I think the series is done. I think that they're a young team. They go down 2-0, and as tough as the Knicks are, I don't see it. But if they can steal a game on the road, I'll take the Hawks in 7.
I think the Hawks have one thing going for them that I think we see kind of track throughout a lot of different sports is they got hot at the right time, right? They're starting to really they were good after Lloyd Pierce got fired and they started winning some ball games, but this team has gotten really good down the stretch. As Cam, they started to get healthy, right? Still not all the way back. It doesn't look like Cam Reddish is going to be ready, at least for this series, probably not for the next couple if they advance past this series, but they're getting hot at the right time, which can lead you into places you shouldn't necessarily be, right? The Knicks, I think, are a better team than the Hawks, but I think the Hawks, Cam, have caught fire at the right time.
I think the Hawks have more talent. Knicks have a little bit more heart, a little bit more grit. I will say that.
Man,
I will say that. I am
John Collins and Trae Young and the NBA's leader in rebounds, Clint Capella, and say they have more heart.
I think so. I'm looking at the Knicks. They got some rough riders over there, man.
Yeah, hold up 2 fingers if Stephen A. Smith is standing behind you.
1. Nah, he's not. Nah, he's not. He's not behind me. I like Julius Randle. I've always been a Julius Randle fan. He's a dog, man. So, but the Hawks definitely have more talent. They're deeper. And so if they can steal a game on the road, and they have some experience on that side too. They're not that young like everybody thinks. Gallinari, Bogdanovich, Capella. So they have a chance. I clearly they have a chance. They both teams are evenly matched. So it's going 7 regardless of who wins game 1 or 2. It's going to go 7, I think.
And the thing to remember, the Knicks have a 3-0 record against the Hawks this year. I'm sure that's something that's going to be brought up a lot this weekend. 2 of those losses came when Lloyd Pierce was still the head coach, and the third loss came with the Hawks were winning by 6, but then Trae Young got hurt in the third quarter. So that game's coming up this Sunday at 7 o'clock. This weekend we also have 3 Braves games coming up for you starting tonight at 7:20 with Ian Anderson will get the start. We don't know who's going to get the start on Saturday. That would have been Waskari Noah's spot, but then it'll be Max Fried coming up on Sunday. Hopefully the Braves can get back to their winning ways, win 3 in a row, and all of a sudden you're back to where you've been all season, which is just below 500. All that coming up this weekend. We'll have full coverage coming up for you on ESPN Radio. For Cody Queen and Cam Urshery, I am Christian Gokel. If you miss any portion of today's show, check it out on ESPNcoastal.com, Spotify, Apple Podcast as well. Kevin out today on 3 and Out. BJ and Ben will be taking you guys up to Braves baseball.